Okay, welcome back. He was also a very key diplomat, and he's going to work very closely with making deals with the Pope, which is going to cement his power in Italy. There's little doubt that during Lorenzo's reign, the, the power the name Medici brought. So, as I said, Lorenzo's rule over Florence was marked by a remarkable amount of patronage to the arts and humanities. He gave so much of the Medici's money because he recognized how transformative the power of culture could be. And he's going to support artists, writers, philosophers, and scientists. Under Lorenzo's patronage, Florence is going to become this vibrant center of intellectual and artistic activity. And he's going to cultivate some of the greatest minds of the Renaissance there in Florence. And those who weren't from Florence came to Florence to become part of this. So we have this really amazing situation in history where we have so many of these individuals in one place, inspiring each other, influencing each other, and shaping the age of the Renaissance. And, one of the most enduring legacies that we attribute to Lorenzo was his support of a young sculptor by the name of Michelangelo Buonarroti. He recognizes Michelangelo's talent from a young age, and he's going to invite him to live with the Medici and provide him with everything he needed. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Michelangelo in the next lecture. Besides Michelangelo, Lorenzo also is going to nurture the talents of other artists such as Botticelli and Da Vinci. Again, we'll be looking at them in the next lecture. He's also going to sponsor the construction of lots of these magnificent architectural projects, including expansions on the Medici Palace and building great libraries throughout the city itself. Now, not only was he a great patron of the arts, he's a skilled politician and diplomat. He's going to start the job that his grandfather began, and he's really going to navigate this complex web of alliances and rivalries amongst the Italian city-states with finesse. And he's going to work tirelessly to maintain Florence's independence and ensure its continued prosperity. And Lorenzo's going to have the respect of rulers across Europe. And, it really will cement his reputation as a leading cultural and economic force. However, Lorenzo's rule was not without challenges. As we saw in the video, he's going to face opposition from rival factions within Florence, as well as external threats, from neighboring states who did want to see the Medicis in Florence get weaker. Despite these challenges, Lorenzo's leadership and vision will guide Florence through a period of relative stability and prosperity, laying the groundwork for the flourishing of the Italian Renaissance. This Renaissance will then start to spread out throughout Europe, with other countries like France and England experiencing their own Renaissance long after the Italian one had already been done. Now, Lorenzo's children are further proof of his success and influence. Pope Leo X would be one of his sons. His other son, his eldest son, Pietro, would rule Florence after his death, while a third son became the ruler of a small kingdom called Nemours. Now, when his son, Pope Leo X, died, he would be replaced by Lorenzo's nephew, who came to be known as Pope Clement VII. There would also be a third Medici pope. Lorenzo's grandnephew would become Pope Leo XI. So we can attribute so much of this age to Lorenzo. Almost every major thinker, artist, or innovation of the 14th to the 16th century will somehow have a connection to the Medicis, and it started with him. The Medici would also have family ties to a number of the kings in France and Spain. They can claim Lorenzo as being their ancestor. The Medicis would also marry into royal families in Austria and a number of the Germanic kingdoms. Even the Protestant King Charles I of England married a Catholic Medici. linking the English crown to the Medici family. Now, all good things must come to an end, and the decline of the Medici's power in Florence starts soon after the death of Lorenzo. And it would be something that would continue to be chipped away at over the years. We can attribute this decline in power to a number of different factors. There is going to be internal strife within Florence itself. There's going to be disputes about succession and opposition from those other rival factions in the city. They're going to slowly weaken the family's grip on political control. There's going to be economic challenges as well. We're going to see downturns in banking and commerce, and thanks to the growth and the effects of the Black Death as it spreads throughout Europe. We're going to see strain on financial resources for the Medici. These things are going to sap away their wealth. External threats from larger states and interventions by foreign powers are going to destabilize Florence, and this will undermine the Medici's authority. Additionally, Italy itself is going to change, including we're going to see the rise of centralized monarchies, and this is going to alter the balance of power in the region. Ultimately, the combination of these internal and external pressures will really contribute to the decline of the Medicis from being a once formidable influence in Renaissance politics and society to just, another one of these very rich, influential families. So the Medicis from Lorenzo's line don't exist today. The male line of the Medici family ends in the 18th century with the death of John Gaston de' Medici. He was the last Grand Duke of Tuscany, and he dies in 1737. He's the last male who could trace himself back to that main line. The official end of the main family line would occur with the death of Anna Maria Luisa de' Medici, and she's going to die in 1743. And she was the one who really kind of took care of that Medici name. She's going to leave all of the Medici holdings to the city of Florence with one provision, okay, that it never be taken away from the citizens of Florence. And that's why today when you visit Florence, the old Medici Palace is now known as the Uffizi Gallery, where you can see so many of the great artists' work that were done under the patronage of the Medici. Now, I should point out, there are still descendants of the Medici family, but really their power and their wealth is no more. And a lot of them come from some of the branches that came off. And, they are not true Medicis. They do carry the name, but they're not the direct descendants of those prominent Medici rulers of Florence and Tuscany. Without a doubt, the Renaissance wouldn't have been successful without the Medici. The great works of art that we now attribute to it was because of them. And this is why the Medici have rightfully earned the name, the godfather of the Renaissance. And there's so much more to the story of the Medici than I told you here. And I would really kind of encourage you to start to read about the politics, the intrigue, and the dynasty that would be the Medici family. We're going to stop there today. And with that, today's lecture is history. Bye.